They said that Mark Richt's a little bit different when Tennessee week comes around. Have you noticed any different intensity, anything like that?
You know, I've been here a pretty long time, so I can't really remember the past couple of years, but I would say definitely this week. I think that's just because we know how significant this game is in the race for the East. You know, obviously I've already lost to South Carolina behind them, and starting off 0-2 in the East would be pretty detrimental to obtaining our goals as far as the East is concerned. So we know that this is our biggest game so far this year. And if we're going to stay on track, we got to win this.
What have you seen from the tape that you've watched? A lot of the new guys that Tennessee squad.
Yeah, you know, I know they're pretty young up front on the D-line side, but they're led by a really good linebacking crew. A.J. Johnson, who's a local kid, seems like he's been there forever, so I know he probably knows their system really well. He's kind of the leader of that defense. Kurt Magid, I think, is another great linebacker that's been there for a while. So that linebacking core is kind of the focus and the strong point of their defense. And the secondary is very talented too. A couple guys that have been there, not really. You know, you got a young guy here and there, but after watching a lot of film, you don't really see a lot of miscommunication, a lot of big plays given up. So, you know, it's just like any other opponent. You know, we'll study them, try to find ways to attack them, but at the end of the day, it comes down to execution. And on Saturday, can we win the one-on-one matchups when it comes down to it?
I guess you're happy to have them at home.
Yeah, Knoxville is always a very tough place to play, and definitely wouldn't be very fun having to go to Columbia and to Knoxville to start off the season. So having them at home is definitely a big advantage.
That early kickoff, I mean, does that bother you? Is it good, bad, indifferent?
I think I was a little surprised, I would say. You know, Tennessee-Georgia is a pretty big rivalry, has a lot of tradition. You know, 12 o'clock game, you don't really expect that game to be at 12, but it is what it is. And, you know, we're not sitting around moping because we're playing at 12. You know, I think it's still on ESPN, so it's pretty prime time. A lot of people watching, so, you know, we just got to win.
What do you do to get up and going for a game like that in the morning?
Well, I mean, I think it kind of helps us having a game last week at 12 o'clock. It was the first one. We kind of got used to a little earlier wake-up time. You know, you're up by 7 a.m., and then the dog walk comes at like 10:15, so it's definitely an early morning. And then before you know it, you know, the game starts. So when you wake up on Saturday morning, it hits you very quick. You know, you got to make sure that you're up, ready to go, focused. Because by the time kickoff starts, if you know you're not really ready to go, you're not woken up, you know it may be too late. So that's something our coaches have emphasized. But I think having that game last week may help us out a lot going into this week.
There's a possibility you could have wound up playing in Knoxville when you were being recruited.
Yeah.
What's your connections to Tennessee?
Mom's side of the family is all from that area. Uncle graduated from UT Dental School, so ever since I converted to the red and black, I've never been able to get my uncle to put on any red and black. He comes to the Georgia games in just neutral Lassiter color, so he refuses to wear any red and black. But I've got the rest of the family converted.
You seem to have an offensive line that's playing real well in front of you right now. Run blocking, you're not getting a ton of pressure in the pocket.
Right.
Just talk about those guys and just kind of how they're working together.
Yeah, they've been doing a really good job. You know, statistically, I'm not really for sure how many sacks we've given up. I know off the top of my head, I know maybe in the South Carolina game you know, it would count as a sack, but it really wasn't a pressure sack. You know, I know a couple times it was more of a coverage sack than it was a pressure sack. So I know, you know, they're doing a phenomenal job so far this year, and a lot of it has to do with their preparation. I think we've done a few different things this year as far as me and them meeting more with no coaches, so just players, and I think that gives them a little bit more preparation time. And you know, we've had some success, so we're going to continue to do it. And I think it just, you know, ends up with how you prepare. And then a lot of it is really how your quarterback plays. They can play really good, but if your quarterback holds onto the ball forever, it can make a pretty good O-line look bad. So it's a little bit of mixture of getting the ball out quick, knowing where you're going with the ball, and the O-line, you know, blocking who they have to block too.
You mentioned numerous times you stayed after practice to work with wide receivers. Now you're talking about staying after with the offensive linemen. What do you do with the offensive linemen? Are you guys going through plays?
Yeah, it's more not really just staying after practice. It's more arranging meeting time to you know, go over film, go over the plays. You know, because you know, we have some younger guys, and you know, if they're struggling with some stuff, you know, we feel like we need to. Me and David, we need to meet more. You know, we need to figure out what we can do to make it easier on these guys, and you know, those guys their run block scheme changes, you know, on a lot of different occasions. So defense may show one thing, and there may be 4 different looks, and they have to block it for every different run that we have. So there's a lot on their plate, and they got to be able to handle it. So it requires a lot of meeting time.
Last question. You say a lot of meeting time. I know you only have 1 class this semester.
Yeah.
How much time are you putting in above the 20 hours? I know it's all voluntary. But
Yeah.
above the 20 hours, how many hours are you putting in?
Much more. I'm usually here by, you know, depending on what day it is. On Mondays, I usually get here about 9 a.m. and I'm here till after practice at you know, 6 or 7. You know, I got a lunch break obviously and stuff, but this morning I got here at about 10 a.m. You know, I'll be here till practice. I try to get most of my film work and preparation done before practice. That way, you know, I can just kind of have my nights to, you know, get home a little early, get into bed early because I'm going to be here, make sure I'm still getting my rest. So it's great, you know, you get to get in here early and get it all done before practice, where, you know, in the past couple years you're bogged down with school all the way up till 1 o'clock, and your film work all had to be done after practice and at night. So it's nice being a 5th-year senior, only having 1 class. You can come in and get it all done before practice.